You might not know it, but in order to make bread, you first need to raise a tiny, hungry pet. One that needs to be fed every day to stay alive. And as you watch it grow, your pet is what makes your bread rise. I didn't even know anything about this, but all I knew was that I needed to see if I could grow one myself. I wanted to see just how long I could really keep mine alive for. And of course, I had to know for myself if I could even bake a successful loaf of bread with my new pet. So therein, my 10-day journey began. I first added flour and water to a mason jar, covered it with a coffee filter and an elastic, and the waiting game for something to happen begun. And I know, all of this was probably a mouthful and you might be confused. So allow me to explain. Usually you make bread with yeast you buy from the store, but this is a little different. Because when you mix unbleached flour with spring water and feed it more flour and water for 10 days, you create a process of fermentation that grows a living organism that can stay alive for years. And as you continue feeding your little pet, it produces its own wild yeast that multiplies at each feeding, and after 10 days, it's ready to bake bread with. Your little pet is what replaces that store-bought yeast with a homemade yeast, and that is what makes it rise. But if you want to keep using it, you have to keep feeding it, unlike regular yeast. And that is what I did for 10 days. So anywho, the initial 24 hours passed, and I noticed that on days 2 and 3, our pet began to bubble a little bit and double in size and get a bit fluffier. I decided to name our pet Brad because it was not yet bred. So Brad was doing well, but seemed a little angry and hungry, or should I say hangry. So for the next 3 days, I fed it once a day with 1 tablespoon of flour and 1 tablespoon of water. And it grew even more, and it smelled like fermentation, a sweet note, and everything seemed to be working well. On day 4, Brad had a dark liquid lying on top, which is apparently good, and what I later learned was called hooch, which is just a liquid that forms on top during fermentation, typically a slightly alcoholic byproduct. You just mix it back in and keep going. So I did. On days 5 to 10, it was time to double the feeding dose. I fed Brad 2 tablespoons of flour and 2 tablespoons of water for those remaining days, and I watched it grow. I was excited that Brad was gonna be ready to get turned into bread soon. And listen, sourdough bread is just the beginning. Next, you already know I'll be knitting sweaters for the future chickens I raise. But anywho, as I waited out those next 5 days, I continued to see some interesting changes happen. I was worried because it didn't seem to be bubbling up as much as Eloise did, but I continued to trust the process. I knew it had to be a thicker pancake-like consistency, so I did my best to keep it that way, and let me tell you, this was a lot of work to keep Brad alive. I waited for it to bubble more and left it sitting in her cute little pottery cup, and soon day 10 finally arrived, and it was time to do the float test. Brad was pretty close to exploding, and I wasn't sure what to do with the dried out piece on top, so I just took it off and threw it out, but realized it probably had to be a bit more airtight, so I started using the lid of the mason jar, but I just didn't screw it on. I added some water to a cup and placed some of the sourdough starter right inside. The float test is just a method to check if the starter is ready to bake. If Brad floats, he's alive and ready to turn into bread. If it sinks, you need to give it a few more days, but ours floated, so I was excited. And literally 30 minutes after I did the float test and fed it, I walked over to see Brad really did explode on me and made a huge mess. After I cleaned it up, it really shrunk down. There was some dark hooch on the top. It was making the bubbling noises that I was waiting for, so I fed it one last time. And when I saw it double in size in just minutes, I decided that it was finally time to turn Brad into bread. I got all my ingredients ready and added sourdough starter, water, flour, and salt. I squished the mixture with my hands as well as I could, but it was really thick and dry, and I wasn't sure if that was supposed to happen, but I trusted the process and covered the bowl with plastic wrap and waited about an hour. After the dough rested a bit, I tried working it into a ball, and the dough was now ready to rise. I left it for about 13 hours, and when I woke up, the bread had doubled in size, and it was time to stretch and fold the dough again. The dough started to get easier to stretch, and it felt like we were really on the right track. So proud of you, Brad. I stretched and folded the dough about 3 more times until it was ready to shape, which took like that entire next day. I tried to make it into a circle as best I could. I didn't have the right pot to bake it in, nor a Dutch oven, but I was hoping it would still work anyway. I used an oven-safe pot with a lid and let it rise once more before baking it. So now it had been like 2.5 days. The dough is ready when it's puffy and no longer dense, and I made the executive decision that it was ready to go into the oven. I scored the dough down the middle as best I could, which is what allows the steam to escape and for the dough to expand during baking. And then the moment of truth came to bake it. But my lid wouldn't fit in the oven, and it was already too hot to move the thing in the oven higher, so I had to bake it uncovered. First for about 20 minutes at 450 degrees, and then I reduced the heat to 400 degrees and baked it for an additional 40 minutes. But I was worried, because when the timer went off, my bread wasn't really that dark on the top like sourdough is supposed to look, and I thought maybe it wasn't cooked enough yet. I left it in for another 10 minutes, but the top of the bread was looking really hard, and I didn't want it to get stale, and I was following a recipe, so I figured I need to take it out and see what we're working with. I let it rest for an hour on the counter, and then the ultimate moment of truth came, to slice it open and see if we slayed. Well, I started slicing it down the middle and finally went to open the bread for the very first time. It looked pretty good. For the first time ever making sourdough, I felt proud. But I definitely knew something was off. It looked dense inside, and it was missing the air bubbles you need in the sourdough bread. Well, I tasted it, and honestly I had to spit it out. It wasn't good, very gummy, very dense, and as disappointed as I was that I spent 3 days trying to make bread that was pretty much a fail, I knew that this is only the beginning of my sourdough journey. Soon I'll be baking loaves, collecting rainwater, talking about herbal remedies, making homemade kombucha once a week, and tending to the backyard beehives for honey, and don't forget the chickens. So for now, Brad 1, Jesse 0. Until next time, I promise you I'm gonna get this right and pass down my starter for generations to come.